What's your NSFW college story? I was in my freshman dorm with a buddy and there was a party going on in another dorm room. We proceeded to head over and had a few beers and decided to get high. One of the guys in the room was asking people if they wanted to do mushrooms with him. I politely declined as he opened a bag and shoved what appeared to be at least an eighth into his mouth. We stayed for about another hour before someone suggested that we move the party into the orchard that was right next to the dorm building so we could smoke cigarettes. So about 20 of us moved from this tiny dorm room outside. Only one of us decided to stay. Mushroom guy. We asked him several times if he wanted to come and he said that he was fine and that he didn't want to go outside. So we enjoyed a few darts outside and after about 45 minutes decided to go back to the dorm room. As we were walking up the stairs to the second floor we smelled it before we saw it. We turned a corner to the hallway and saw shroom guy spread eagle on the ground completely naked. There was shit everywhere. On the floor. On the wall. It looked like he had tried to make cave paintings on the walls with his own shit. He sees us and stands up and comes over to try and hug us. But we say stay back because he has shit all over his hands and chest. His friends immediately beckon him into the dorm room and throw him in the shower. My buddy and I immediately bolted back to our dorm room. I heard that the RAs found everything the morning after and were so pissed that they went door to door and threatened to get the shit DNA tested unless someone confessed. Shroom guy eventually did tell the RA and was subsequently kicked out of the dorm. I was a member of a club called High Society, which was pretty much a drug distribution organization funded unknowingly by the university. Once a year we would have a boat cruise on the river where we would consume drugs at an alarming rate, while singing songs that mocked the police who would follow us along the riverbank, waiting for us to disembark. The trick was to make sure anything illegal was disposed of before they boarded. I'm convinced we are a big reason there now exists a water police division in our city. There was also the anatomy student who stole a penis from the cadaver lab and freaked out a bunch of dudes in a pub toilet by floating it down the urinal. Pretty sure he faced criminal charges but escaped jail time. Imagine deciding to donate your body to science in hopes that it helps with medical research and that your time on earth wasn't for shit only to have your fucking dick thrown into a urinal as a prank. I went to college in Minneapolis and worked at a convenience store across the street from my apartment. One day these two Japanese girls brought a bunch of ice cream to my counter and we talked for a bit. I found out that they were visiting from Osaka and disliked the girl they were crashing with because she was boring. So I invited them out to see a local band at First Avenue. We ended up having a great time and went back to my place to party more. My friend Mike who was with us went home eventually and the girls jumped on me as soon as I locked the door. We hooked up and the whole time I was in disbelief because for a white guy, having a threesome with two Japanese girls is cartoon level bucket list. Also having a threesome wasn't as intimidating as I had always thought. I had just thrown out all of my furniture including a couch and bed because some asshole put a great looking couch riddled with bed bugs by the dumpster with no sign and I unknowingly brought it up to my apartment. We had all crashed in a pile of blankets and sleeping pads after fooling around. I was worried that in the morning I would have to explain to the girls and they would run away grossed out. But they were totally cool and understanding. They hated the girl they were supposed to be staying with so much that they ended up bringing all their luggage down to my place to stay with me in my unfurnished apartment. They stayed the rest of their time in Minneapolis with me and cleaned my apartment, bought me booze, and cooked delicious Japanese stew for me. I offered to drive them to the airport as it was the least I could do. On the way to the highway one of them made me pull over at a furniture store and bought me a damn futon bed. Best thing that happened to me in college. This story is fantastic. Not sex related but some guy at a frat party on campus next door to my frat eventually had to go to the hospital. He had a 0.48 blood alcohol content or something like that. Apparently the reason his heart was still going was all the coke he had done throughout the night. I got introduced to a girl my freshman year by one of my roommates. She was nice. We had a few dates. Fooled around a bit. But she never wanted to take the next step. She was fine with me going down on her but had some type of fear of penis. I wasn't an asshole demanding sex. But hey maybe a handy. Came to find out she was super Christian and was only in college to find a man to marry and have kids. She wasn't even concerned about finishing school and dropped out 2 semesters later despite good grades. 19-year-old me wasn't ready for that. And I told her so. I told her we were looking for different things in a relationship at this point and I wanted to break up. She replied with, "If I have sex with you, will you stay?" I noped the fuck out of there immediately. She stalked me for 3 months until she and a friend randomly showed up at a party I had and I spent the night unknowingly hitting on her friend. Never saw her again. But the friend did flash me her boobs. A couple of girls on my floor were going to a dance one night. I didn't go as I had work early the next morning. So I helped out with hair, makeup and a variety of other things before going back to my room to watch a movie. As I was sitting on my bed watching my film, the door opened and a random guy came in and took off his pants. I was a bit shocked and confused, so I didn't manage to say anything while he was undressing. As soon as his pants were on the ground, I managed to speak up. I told him he was in the wrong room and he looked around, pulled up his pants and left. One night when I was sleeping in my dorm room, the guy who lived next door walked into my room. He woke me up, obviously very drunk, and informed me that I was in the wrong room. We argued about who was in the wrong room for a minute or so before I finally convinced him to go out in the hall and make sure. He then apologized and left. I thought it was hilarious. But my girlfriend, who was right next to me the whole time, was terrified. I locked the door at night from then on. Me and my boyfriend had sex openly in a jacuzzi at my old apartment complex. A Mormon college group was talking about abstinence and purity 15 feet away. No regrets. Blackout drunk. Went roaming around the apartment complex. Found a small low-key party. Fat girl no less than 300 pounds. She was sober. Got me to go into her room. Ate her out. Never told me she was on her period. Too drunk to even realize. Woke up with blood all over my hand, naked in her bed. Couldn't find my underwear. With only shorts, and I ran out of the house. Never talked to her again. She somehow found me on Facebook. She is in Facebook jail currently. Edit. Facebook jail is when someone requests to be your friend, but instead of accepting or rejecting, you do nothing, so the person cannot try to request you as a friend again. It just permanently stays as request pending. Not sex related. Naked beer slide in January. Several inches of snow on the ground and suddenly there is a nude conga line and people diving on a beer soaked water slide. Afterwards we quickly ran back in the house and had turned off the lights to hide when police showed up and the residents answered the door pretending there wasn't a gathering of rowdy college drunks. Was in a fraternity and had some strippers and some prostitutes at one of the guys' birthday. Things are getting a little crazy. Guys are getting drunk, grabbing the girls and making out with them, grabbing their tits and licking whipped cream off of them. All kinds of stuff. Music is blaring and then one of the girls whips out a stack of quarters and starts pouring them from hand to hand. I'm thinking, yeah, she's gonna start flinging them out into the audience or something. The girls were dancing on these high tables, so it was hard to see exactly what she was doing. And here is where I'm going to be very careful about how I describe it. She takes the stack of quarters and balances them on the tip of the beer bottle and then very slowly and very deliberately squats on the stack of quarters, bringing them into herself. Well, you can imagine what she does next. She lays down on the table with her legs spread wide and feet up in the air. Shifts her weight with her hands and jiggling her pussy in all directions and shooting them into the air and into the crowd. One by one the guys went wild. People were screaming. Her pimp, never smiling, puts his hand on his hip because I'm pretty sure he's got a gun on him. So here's the thing. We're drunk and there's music and people are having a good time when one by one the guys are catching the quarters and putting them into their mouths. Yeah, I know. Fucking hell. Sounds like a good time. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Reddit After Dark. Have a good night.